our intended recall. Colleagues in the media may be aware of the fact that on the 20th of March, Mr. Speaker adjourned the House sine die. At the time the House was adjourned sine die, there were 3 items of urgent importance to government that had been advertised to be taken. They were advertised on the order paper of the day. And these were the items. 1, the adoption of the 34th report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency the President's nomination for appointment as ministers, regional ministers, and deputy ministers. 2, motion on additional financing agreement between Government of Ghana and the IDA for an amount of $150 million to finance the ongoing Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project, also known as the GARID. 3, request for tax exemption for selected beneficiaries under the 1D1F program. On the first item, you all know that Mr. President did some reshuffle and came out with some nominations. As you are well aware, the appointment committee sat on all of the nominees, interviewed them, engaged them, asked the relevant questions, and the report, as was tabled on the floor, was by consensus. So all we left to do is to take it through the motion of voting. On the issue of the GARID, that is the IDA 150 million, the committee had done its work. In fact, we had taken the motion, and the Works and Housing Subcommittee, Committee of Parliament, had expressed certain views, and Mr. Speaker advised that the matter be taken back to committee and the leadership of the Works and Housing Committee be asked to join to express their views so that such views get incorporated. In fact, this was done, and all that is left is for this item to be taken so that government can access this concessional facility to show up our forex. We all know the situation with our city, and these are things that if we are unable to speedily deal with, would affect our economy.
AM show. I'm here together with Sweetie Abochi, and we're about to get into that crucial issue of Parliament being reconvened. There are so many issues to unpack from there. Sweetie, we can talk about whether the Speaker would have been in contempt, whether he would have been gearing up for an impeachment if he hadn't recalled Parliament. But there are so many other issues to unpack in there. Government business, what business is that? And what can we expect now that Parliament is going to be back in session? Well, we're joined by our guests on this beat. We have Habib Idrisu. He is Deputy Majority Chief Whip for the NPP side, that is the majority. And then we also have the Minority Chief Whip, Kwame Governs Agboja. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Is that? Okay, so I've heard both of you now. Right. Let's start off from how you feel about the Honourable Speaker, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Sumana Bagbin, recalling Parliament. Some say that if he hadn't, he would have been in breach of the standing orders, which could have led to his impeachment. I will start with you, Habib Idrisu. Satisfied now?
Yes, I don't think that we've gotten to the stage that we were actually going to look or discuss something that has to do with the impeachment of the Speaker. The majority side, we were exercising our right under the Constitution in Article 112, Clause 2 of the Constitution, where about 15% of them can actually petition for the reconvening of Parliament. We did that. The Speaker office was duly served, and then he has responded and said we should reconvene on Friday. We think that we have serious government businesses that worth considering, and for that matter, Parliament needs to be reconvened. So I don't think it was an idea of saying that if the Speaker doesn't reconvene Parliament.
But that's not the focus. It just came in. Some of your members had spoken about that. It was just about Parliament being reconvened, and I asked you whether you were happy, and obviously you are. But let me quickly, just hold your horses. Let me bring in Governor Agboja as well on this matter. Has your hand been forced in this matter in terms of reconstituting Parliament?
Good morning to you, and good morning to my good friend, Deputy Majority Whip, Honorable Habib. Let's put this in context. We have a situation currently where the colleagues on the majority side feel strongly about a recall based on items they feel are important to their party government, and they've written to Mr. Speaker. I am reliably aware that as of the time they were making all the comments at press conferences and on social media, the radio, Mr. Speaker was critically not taking account.
Mr. Agboja, we are beginning to lose you slightly. I would like you to reposition so that we don't miss anything you're saying.
Can you hear me?
Better now. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying that the time I making all comments about recall of impeachment thing, about being Speaker.
Mr. Agboja, there seems to be some problem. I don't know whether it's where you are positioned. You have to move from where you are a bit so that we can...
I am actually in transit.
I would really appreciate it if just for about 10, 15 minutes you could just park somewhere for us. Because once you keep moving, we'll face this problem. Okay,
all right. Let me see if it will be better this way.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
It's better. Please go ahead.
Okay, all right, okay. As of the time our colleagues were making all the comments about possible recall, impeachment of Mr. Speaker and everything, Mr. Speaker was physically out of the jurisdiction.
Right.
But we are now aware that Mr. Speaker has officially recalled Parliament. So we're under Order 53, 1 and 2. So
right.
we will make our way to Parliament. But let's put this in context. We know we are doing limited registration, and you all know the deliberate action of the Electoral Commission in connivance with NPP to make the registration extremely difficult for ordinary people, i.e., everybody must move to a central location to register. But obviously, it is not the same for the NPP. They are able to be happy with whatever the EC is doing. So under very strenuous, a very difficult situation, our colleagues will also respond to Mr. Speaker's call and come to Parliament on Friday.
So you will be in Parliament on Friday.
Mr. Speaker has recalled us, and
right.
There's no reason why we will not be there. We will be there.
But do you see the urgency for which this recall has been, put in play? Do you think that all these issues are indeed an issue of emergency, for which reason Parliament has been recalled?
Well, let's put this in context as well. I heard my good friend, the majority leader, enumerate some of the reasons they are doing the recall. He makes the first one as a confirmation or approval of our colleagues who were vetted for various ministerial positions. Yes, indeed, they've been vetted under normal circumstances. The decision is left with the plenary to take. But let me ask a question. Which of the approved the downward? Which of ministers are holding back as a result of which they are having?
Mr. Agboja, we're still struggling to hear you.
Can you hear me?
I don't know what the problem is because it's making the conversation very difficult.
I've actually stopped. Can you hear me?
Okay, let's try again. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I've actually stopped, so I'm not sure why you can hear me.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm saying that which of these ministers, when approved, would stop the doomsday we are having? Which of these ministers, when approved, would make the city stabilize So yes, I agree that our colleagues have been vetted. Plenary need to take a decision on them. So when we go, hopefully, we'll have the opportunity to take a decision.
But you do not think it is of major significance, like they are making it sound, right? Because like you're saying, which of these will end doom, or which of these will end the depreciation of our currency? So in other words, you're saying it's much ado about nothing, right?
Of course. If they were approved, it wouldn't have changed anything. Now that they have not been approved yet, it is not changing anything. But I'm not saying that they shouldn't be approved. Far from that. So what I'm saying is that making it look as if once these ministers are approved, Doomsor will stop or the city will stop depreciating. It's not neither here nor there. When it comes to the loan, let me put this out there. The 150 million Garrick loan was brought to Parliament. We noticed that it is the second part of a loan that has already been approved. $200 million has already been approved. My brothers and sisters, the $200 million when approved, we cannot find any evidence of that money being used for anything. They said they needed to dredge Odot River and many projects. As we speak, no committee of Parliament, either Finance Committee, Works and Housing Committee, can say categorically that they have gone to anywhere in this country and have inspected what even $1 has been spent on out of the $200 million. So when they brought additional funding of $150 million, we raised the issue of at least giving us an update on what the $200 million was spent on, upon which we need additional funding. The majority side was unable to provide any information on how the money was spent. And I am saying that even the World Bank in Ghana probably need to take note of this, that when you give a loan and the people of Ghana cannot find what the money has been spent on, I think they should do an introspection themselves. Okay. So I heard the majority leader saying that the committee has subsequently done everything and the report is ready. No. As we speak, no committee of Parliament has visited any site. There's no new report that actually satisfies anybody. If they've done that during the holiday, then we are yet to see that.
All right, Mr. Agboja.
Hello?
Yes. I think
nobody's trying to force government's hand not to access financing. But when you have taken $200 million and you can't even prove how $1 was spent, and you want another $150 million, is the Ghanaian public expecting the minority side to just go and approve another $150 million when $200 million taken in their name?
Right. Mr. Agboja, I think your point is made on that. Let me bring in Habib. So you look at some of the issues for which reason you want this recall of Parliament. What are the most crucial ones for you? We know about loan agreements, approval of loans. There's the bit about ministers, tax waivers, among others. But which are the most crucial ones that you feel should be tabled at the very start? Or should it be the ministerial appointments? Habib?
If you look at the whole thing, I think all of the above is equally important for the reasons why we are recalling Parliament. But it must be on record when the minority with my good friend Kwame Agboja was of the view that the initially $200 million IDA loan contracted for the purposes of work was actually nothing was done. On that day, the motion was moved. It was seconded. It was for the constitution of the House. Then the leadership of the Works and Housing Committee said the Finance Committee did not involve them in the work, and they feel strongly that they should have been involved. So the Speaker also agreed with them and said that the Finance Committee should be able to meet them. I am very much aware that the Minister for Works and Housing, Opon Nkrumah, the Finance Committee, they had gone to visit the site and see whatever the $200 million was used for. So when we recall, we definitely look into the details of the whole thing. But I don't understand when Kwame Agboja said that there's nothing like agency. Health is of crucial importance.
There's nothing like what? Agency?
Okay. Like he said. For example, the approval of the ministers is very important to us. For example, if you go to the Minister of Health, the minister and all the two deputy ministers are all new. They are all part of those considering to be approved. So you have a full ministry, very sensitive, like the Minister of Health, no minister, no deputy minister, because Parliament have not been able to approve it yet. You go to the Minister of Gender, Children Protection, the minister and the deputy ministers are all new. Nobody have been approved yet. So how do you expect us to be able to give quality health care? Who's supposed to have the supervisory issues to do? And then the third issue has to do with the waivers. We are talking about businessmen or companies trying to exit Ghana because initially under the 1D1F, they were supposed to be given some exemptions. And when they are leaving, it means that it is going to affect our currency.
Are you saying these businesses, I think that is a rather interesting comment to make. Are you saying the businesses are leaving because they are not getting tax waivers? That couldn't be any farther from the truth, because we know what they have stated, why they are leaving the country.
Continent. We are living in a competitive continent where if I am not being offered a concession with regards to tax waivers, and Togo is given, if I am a businessman, why wouldn't I leave to Togo if I can get that exemption? If Burkina Faso and other Morocco and other countries have been able to give that, and I was assured under this policy will be able to give those things, and we have not been able to consider it. But the most important thing that we should be able to understand is that the business of the House and government business normally comes from the majority. The minority will not, and will not allow them to dictate to us the business of the House. Yes, it's rather unfortunate the way Parliament was adjourned Senate, because we were to consider the ministers and all this that we have discussed. There won't be a need for a recall. But when the Speaker came after delivering his speech, he adjourned the House Senate, which has never happened in the history of this Parliament. Leadership were supposed to give a closing remarks, and members were supposed to consider other business. We were not yielded at whether we still have some government business to consider or not, but the House was moved to do. But I am saying that it is very important that if we want the president and the country to move on, we have all our ministers in place, especially like I have mentioned, help. But Kwame must know that there is no Dumso in Ghana. When
Mr.
there was
Idrisu, please hold for me. Your point,
we were all aware
that
there was Dumso.
I don't know where you say there's no Dumso in Ghana, but
Kwame Agboja, you've heard your colleague on the issues that he sees as crucial, for which reason Parliament has been recalled. And you're saying it's much ado about nothing. So give me a sense of your mindset entering Parliament on Friday. What is your intention for going to Parliament on Friday?
Yes, like initially, with regards to the ministers.
This is Mr. Agboja, please.
Habib, this question is for Mr. Agboja.
Okay. Mr. Speaker has recalled Parliament, so we'll be there. But let it be known. My brother knows very well that NDC, as a party in Parliament, is not opposed to tax waivers. What we are asking for is equity and accountability. Let me give you an example. On the same day that the government is looking for a loan of $150 million to do a project that we say that $200 million already deferred cannot do, because we haven't got any evidence. And nobody from my side actually attended any site and can confirm that any work has been done. Two, the tax waivers are such that we are looking for $450 million tax waivers. At the same time, you are looking to borrow another $150 million. What is the mindset of government? You are borrowing $150 million and you are giving away $400 million. And then they need to fight was elected up the start of
Mr. Agboja, we are beginning to lose you again.
But I mean, before you even continue, help me put this in context. We've had the issues. Idrisu has also elaborated on why he's saying these are crucial. And you're saying the Speaker has called Parliament and so you will be there. But I'm sure there's been some conversations among you minority. What is the mindset? How are you going into Parliament? Are you going there to actually, ensure that the country moves on, like Idrisu is saying, and approve these ministers? What's the mindset? What is the agenda for going to Parliament on Friday from the minority side?
Okay, I don't think the people of Ghana expect NDC to just walk in there and approve another $150 million when we are saying that $200 million previously approved cannot be accounted for. That is the point. They want to swear in our colleagues who have been elected at Idrisu. There's no problem about that. But my brothers and sisters, are you aware that the NPP connived with the Electoral Commission and denied the people of South representation up till today?
You cannot prove that. You cannot prove that, Mr. Agboja. You cannot prove that. If you utter things like the MPP, hold for me. It's a conversation. You cannot. How can you say the MPP connived with the EC2? And you know that currently there's a new dispensation, and those in South are going to vote.
Let me tell you. Okay, so let me explain it to you. Let me prove it to you. Under what law did the Electoral Commission, 24 hours before the 2020 election, decide that the people of South will not vote? I repeat, the Electoral Commission connived with the MPP to deny people of South representation.
Mr. Agboja, you cannot prove that. I am sorry. I cannot allow you to make such statements on the show.
It is a proof. So we have our mindset. We have got open-minded position going into the chamber on Friday. We are not certain on anything. In any case, Mr. Speaker's recall did not state what we are supposed to come and do. So it is premature.
Okay, so let me just clarify with you, Mr. Agboja. When exactly is Parliament expected to return from its break substantively? What's the substantive date?
It's supposed to be from next week towards the end of the month. That is what
you can't give me a substantive date?
No, because we are against it here. So it is difficult to say that we're supposed to resume on a particular day. That is the whole point of CNDA, which is indefinite.
All right. Are there MPs who are outside the country currently? And what will be the modalities in terms of getting them back?
Well, the majority side is very insensitive to our colleagues. Let me give you an example. Normally, we should be all be aware when we are returning, so that we can encourage people to make their way wherever they are to Parliament. But as you realize, this recall the notice came over the weekend. Of course, members from both sides are outside of the country. Some are in their constituencies. So they have to be compelled by one way or the other to come back to the House. And so it is a very, very difficult one for both sides, as a matter of fact.
And what will be the cost involved in all of this? Recalling Parliament and also the cost of, yes, some are outside the jurisdiction, but do we have a ballpark figure we can use in terms of the cost of reconstituting or recalling Parliament?
The cost is actually largely borne by members of Parliament. You can never be reimbursed for what this costs you, just the same way the cost of the registration is borne by the citizens of this country, not the EC. Because if somebody needs to travel from Jacko in our constituency to Wire to go and register, the EC doesn't pay for the cost of that one. So the cost of the recall, the cost of the limited registration is largely borne by the ordinary citizens of this country.
Habib, a quick one. So 2 quick questions. You will need the numbers of the minority on a lot of what will happen in plenary, right? Are you hoping to get these numbers? Because some of them are outside the jurisdiction. I spoke last week to someone who had just returned to the jurisdiction. How do you mean to handle all of this? If you don't have the requisite numbers, some of the very approvals you seek may not happen. How are you going to deal with them? I'll get back to Governs later on whether they are expecting their side to show up in numbers. But how are you going to muster those numbers, Habib?
On our part, we are very positive that we have the numbers to be able to take decision on the approval of the ministers. We are very convinced that we have the numbers for the approval of the 150 IDA loan, and we also have the numbers to be able to carry the waivers that we are seeking to. My colleagues.
So you don't care. You don't care about the numbers on the minority side, whether they show up or not. You don't care.
But if you listen to him, he said that you don't expect then the NDC or the minority to walk into the chamber to support a 150 million IDA loan. So what he's simply trying to tell me is that they are going to against it. And as a deputy whip from my side, I have to also ensure that government business go on. So I have to bring my numbers. He bring his numbers, and we'll be able to see who have the numbers to carry the business. But what must be noted is that day we will be 138 because the member of parliament for AGSU, the one elect, will be sworn in, and the majority will be 138. And then if he says that we are not sensitive to members of parliament, it's rather unfortunate that he will make this statement because we had actually engaged. There was a consensus for us to build for Parliament to be recalled. We are not getting it before we were able to trigger this. We give a notice for 7 days to the Speaker. The Speaker, upon receiver, also gives notice. So that's about 14 days, 2 weeks. And then they known that Parliament will be reconvening on Friday.
Okay, so they had enough.
We have the numbers to carry the business of the House.
So they had enough notice. But a quick question: you sound as though you were looking forward to a wholesale approval of ministers. That's how you sound. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But there's also the thorny issue of Professor Kingsley Nyako, who has been nominated or selected as a deputy education minister. With the cloud hanging over his head, are you looking to approve him as well as the majority?
Innocent until proven guilty. Has the member of parliament been approved guilty of any crime, any wrongdoing?
Your party communications director came here, Richard Ahiagba came here and said that he was not in support of the actions of that individual, that he didn't work in the interest of or on the direction of the party. What do you think that conveys?
The most important thing is that he has appeared before the appointment committee. He was asked questions. He was vetted. He proved that he is capable of being the deputy minister for education. He has been approved. The report was consensual. So whatever happened after, it is something that we need to talk about. But at the moment, I haven't seen the member of parliament being found guilty of any wrongdoing. It is just a video circulated. People see. I also saw it, an envelope being given. He has spoken to race, and for that matter, he's not been found guilty of anything. So I don't think that it is something we should use to crucify him for perception and other things that we have to look at. He is capable of becoming a deputy minister.
Sweetie Abochi, it's just a video of an envelope being. It was just a video.
You know, he says innocent until proven guilty. My final bit to you would be that if these issues are as crucial as you say to the nation, and Parliament needs to allow time for accurate debates, rebuttals here and there. Sitting for 1 day, will that time suffice to, conclude on all these issues, loans, ministerial appointments, and all these issues that are coming up? Do you think just sitting for a day, instead of waiting for Parliament to actually be back, do you think that time will suffice for you to accurately deal with these issues that you're saying are crucial?
Yes, like I said earlier on, I think we need less than a day, even not a day, to be able to do this. Because for the 150 idea alone, the motion was moved, the motion was seconded. There's already a report from the Finance Committee. The only thing that was left was for the Finance Committee to engage the Works and Housing Committee leadership, which they are, to the best of my knowledge, I
think I agree with Benjamin when he says that you don't sound like you're expecting any opposition at all. If you say that you need less than a day to go through all these issues.
No, but the point is that with regards to the loan agreement, if they oppose to it, it is left with the mode of opposition that they are coming in. Whether the speaker puts a voice vote, and we are going to look at it, whether who carry it, whether there will be a challenge or the voice vote or not. With the issue of the ministerial appointment, there is already a report. So the chairman of the committee just needs to present the report. And the last report I cited was a consensus report. So it will just be presented for the consideration of the House. Right. And with regards to the tax waivers, it is not new. All what we are talking about, none of them is a new thing to the House. It's something we are well aware of. It's something we needed to approve before with the House.
Okay, so I think your point is made. It's not new, so it's going to be easy to dilate on it. Gentlemen, the final bit I want you to look at, just moving away briefly, the limited voter registration exercise has been characterized by quite some skirmishes and all of that. Ahafuano North, among others, Cape Coast, Dujuma, among others. What is your take? Mr. Agboja, you also had Collins Dauda, accosted, apprehended at a point, and on the other side, some others as well. The MPP's Mpoho treasurer also arrested. Why are we at this point? Quick take, because we're about to have a full conversation on this, but since you are in Parliament, I wanted to take your thoughts. I'll start with you, Governor Kwame Agboja.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, let me state once again, the NDC's opposition to the $150 million is based on the principle that the $200 million they took, both the NPP and the NDC side have never been to any side to ascertain how the $200 million was spent. So let that be clear. So, and I never said that we are opposed to it. I said they haven't presented anything to us to make us support that loan. So it's not true that I said we are opposed to it.
All right.
And with regard to the limited registration, the biggest problem was the first 2 days, as you know, and I blame this on the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission knows the challenges they have when we are doing limited registration. And indeed, the last registration, we had similar problems. How the EC is unable to resolve these issues to the extent that when we started this, for 2 days, we couldn't do registration in some towns, only can point to one thing, that they are either very, very incompetent or deliberately massaging the registration process to satisfy a certain political party. With regard to the violence, largely, many places, the registration is going on smoothly, as a matter of fact. I am aware, or I've read on social media, that my colleague, Honorable Dauda, and some NPP side people had some altercation, of which the police invited them and took statements from them and left them. That is all that I know about that. So I don't have much details about extreme violence everywhere. Though I saw another video of somebody in a part of Ashanti region basically destroying the whole registration process, leading to the EC officials running out of their place. And I'm told the PC of NPP was behind that. I also don't have any further information apart from the videos I saw.
All right, Mr. Agboja, we're grateful for your time. Habib, you have the final word on that, and then we're gone.
Yes, just like any other registration exercise, there might be one or two problems elsewhere. We all
Habib, just a quick thought. Let's not trivialize or normalize this and make it appear just like any other. There are other jurisdictions where you will not see anything like this. So I take a little bit of exception to just like any other exercise. So we should expect these things.
I am a student of the electoral process. At least I've been around observing it from 92, and I haven't been able, I can't recall any one registration exercise that we said there was never been a problem, not even one. I'm not justifying that what is going on is beautiful or it is good. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that, yes, just like any other registration exercise, there have been problems. Like in my constituency, I was there, Tolong constituency. I visited the main EC office. Everything was going on well. I visited the mobile site. That's the hard-to-access area. It was going on well. Yes, like he mentioned, just one or two places to have problems. But the first day, we were all disappointed that the network went off and it was not going well. Yes, Electoral Commission can improve on their services. But what actually is going on now? We have 21 days to do it. I think they are just on day 6 or so. So we hope that they will be able to improve their services so that everybody who is eligible to register can be captured to the national register.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Habib Idrisu. He is Deputy Majority Chief Whip. We also had Governor Kwame Agboja, who is the Majority Chief Whip. And we brought up that conversation because we're going to segue neatly into the next conversation focusing on the limited voter registration exercise, some of these skirmishes and everything in between. Seems that even I saw on video and I was thinking, wow,